Now watch this. Make it big. And hey everybody, today I'm going to give you guys 5 tips, maybe a few extra bonus ones on how to use Procreate, or at least how I utilize the features in Procreate. We're going to talk about how to set up your canvas, we're going to talk about reference layers, we're going to talk about layers, we're talking about alpha lock, and we're going to talk about exporting your images. And there's a little bonus tips here and there, and these are just some of the tips I've used. And if you guys like to see more in-depth of any one of these, comment below and maybe I'll make a video discussing just one topic more in depth. Thanks guys. First off, what I'm going to start off talking about is your actual canvas size. How to choose your canvas size, what to set it at, all that fun jazz. Here we go. Alright, so let's talk about one of the most important parts that people kind of overlook is the screen size, the canvas size. And if you look over here, you got all these different options. However, if you see from where it says Untitled down, those are custom ones I've made. And I've even gone to make adjustments on these two. The only ones that you can't really adjust are the screen size and the clipboard. Outside of that, what I like to do is like US paper. So if I'm a tattoo artist, so if I'm going to print anything on paper, that's a good size so I can just look at it at the screen and kind of judge it based off of the size. But we're going to create a new one here. We're going to create another one. There's all these different options to choose from. You can choose millimeters, centimeters, inches, pixels. I like to choose inches because that's how I convert it to what it should be. And then we'll do 8.5 as the width. We'll do 11. Now here's another important part that people always overlook. And that's where it says DPI, it's dots per inch. I have mine set at 600. It's a little excessive. You only really need 300, but anything less than 300, it's going to make it hard to share on social media. It's not going to look as good. And that's the most important part. And then you can title it whatever you want. So I'm going to put tattoo sheet just to know that it's, you know, going to print it out for that. So now it opens up and there you go. That's how you choose your screen size. And to double check what your screen size is, you can click up here, you go to canvas, and go to canvas information. And over here, they give you a bunch of options. As you can see, DPI 600. Standard, I think it comes stock with Procreate, like 144 DPI, which isn't terrible, but if you want to sell digital art or post it on different social medias, that's a very important number. At least 300, I have it at 600. It's better to shrink it down than to blow it up, if that makes sense. It tells you your maximum layers, layers used, all that fun jazz. Now the higher this is, the less layers you're going to have, so keep that in mind too. So we'll close out of that. That's the best way to go about selecting your screen size. Alright, hopefully that made sense to you guys. Now we're going to go on to step number 2, and that is layers, and how I utilize layers. Let's get into it. Now another very important part of Procreate is using this layers tab over here. I'm going to back out of this, and I'm going to go into a recent project I had so I can show you guys. You see this image right here? I just did the video. If you guys want to check that out, go back and look, and you'll be able to see me create this in a time lapse. But if you look, you can see the different layers that I have over here to create all of this. And the why I do all these different layers is, well, one thing being a tattoo artist, if I went through and I hid all this color, if I go and hide all that color except for this because I took away the outline there, imagine there being an outline there, but this way I can print this out and bam, there's my stencil ready to go. But it's also good too that have a line drawing for reference layers, but I'll get into that next. So one thing I like about layers is you can adjust individual things. So if I want to change, say we'll go to the color of the flame here, and I want to change the color of the flame, go over to this magic wand thing, go down to hue saturation, and bam, look at that. You can change the color to anything you want. But I want to keep it the orange, so I'm going to take 2 fingers, double tap, there we go, back to normal. Now say I wanted to move it all. Well, the problem is it's like I'll select the outline. Now if I go to move it, oh look, there's no outline there. Not good. Double fingers, get it back to where it was. Undo that. Now what I like to do is you select whatever layers you want to move. You click on the layer and this little screen comes along. We're going to reference back to the screen here in a second. There's merge down and combine down. If you click merge down, that's going to take the layer on top and completely merge it with the layer on the bottom. You don't necessarily want to do that unless you're trying to save layers, because once you do that, you can't adjust individual little things. So what we do is we hit combined down. Now what that does is it creates a new group. And the new group is now this and this are in the same group. So now if we go back to here, the new group, now and I move this, now you see that the white layer is moving with that. But we want to be able to move everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to this where it says new group, and then you're going to hit combine down, combine down, combine down, all the way until you want it to. You do this all the way until you combine all the layers that you want.
See where we're at. Right there.
And then you see how I get like down here and I can't see it. Here's another cool quick thing. Bam. Still the same premise, but now it brings it all. It's like its own little folder, and you can just keep combining.
Down, combine down.
That bam. Now one other thing that you can do too, you can always hit that little arrow. It'll open to all these, and you still have the individual adjustments. But we'll take that now. What happens when you have the group select, whether it's like that or that's like this, as long as you have the where it's the new group, now you can take this and move it anywhere you want. And just to show quick down here, I always try and keep it on uniform so it's consistently, no matter what I do, it's staying, all the dimensions of the product are staying the same. But if you come here to for freeform, you know, see it gets all warped, flip it around, all that, you don't want that. Distort, kind of adjust perspectives. You know, so say you draw a drawing and you want to adjust the perspective on it, you can do that. And then say you wanted to do this. There's one other option too with that is this warping. Now you can go in here and individually move different things. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's a brief rundown of how I use layers. Alright guys, that's just the beginning of layers. Now let's get into reference layers and how I utilize them, especially being a tattoo artist and cartoonist. Reference layers is one of my most used features on this. Here we go. Alright, now here we're going to talk about reference layer. Now if you take a look what reference layer is, reference layer, you find it from clicking on any one of your layers. Generally, for me, being a cartoonist and tattoo artist, it's the line drawing. So what you're going to do is you're going to come over to this menu again where we found the merge down combine. You click on reference layer. See, I already have it selected. If you deselect it or select it, it'll say right there. It goes away, comes back. Now, why this is important. So say I'm on a new layer, and generally my layers, if it's a line drawing, are underneath the reference layer. So the outline will always be on the top. So what we'll do is we're going to take this. I'm going to turn off the reference layer for just a second. So say you want to have a general undertone for the whole skull, and you don't want to sit there and go in there and color individual strokes. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a new layer, empty blank layer. I'm going to take this and just drop this anywhere on the page. You think, oh, now I'm going to have to erase all of this. Now this concept, guys, I'm going to show you. I see a lot of people change how they do this, and this is why reference layer is good. You don't want to sit here and go back and erase all of this. It's just, you know, so much work. You know, and sometimes you don't have this, like if I didn't have this white border here, take that off, I have to come in like all in here. If imagine it's like all in there. You don't want to cross over the lines. It's time, you know, time is money and all that fun jazz, but I'm going to show you a way to save a bunch of time. So now we're going to go back and make this a reference layer. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to come onto this layer where all the red is. You're going to select this magic tool right here. It's a little S. You got automatic, freehand, rectangle, and ellipse, and it's a selection tool. if I clicked all these and I click freehand and then go to this, you can move essentially that piece wherever. But that's not the point of what we're doing. What we're going to do now is, since we have this as the reference layer, even though we're on the red layer, and click that, click automatic, and then click that. Click the background. Now what that's going to do is turn it blue. So then what you're going to do is click anywhere, and you'll see, if you look at this, it might be hard to kind of see here, but you get all these grid lines here, and then over here there's nothing. So make sure you're still on that layer, okay? And what you're going to do is grab your eraser tool. I generally like, if I'm going to do big erase, I go to my airbrush, hard brush, make this thing super big, screen out here, and then watch this. Bam, all of that gone. Click on that. There you go. Now those lines are gone. And there you go. Now you have a red skull. But say you want to do something, it works, you know, you don't want to do say you want to do gradients. I got a gradient here. You know, it works with gradients too. You know, you got this gradient here. I'll duplicate the layer so I don't ruin the original layer. Hide the original layer. Come up here to the selection tool. Automatic. Bam. Eraser tool. Oops. Eraser tool. And there you go. If you want to make stickers, if you want to do just art or line drawings, or just get the general gradient overall, that's generally how I go about doing that. Oh, and a quick tip. Say you're working on something and you're all like this. You want to get it back to full screen, just flick two fingers, just bam, and that's reference layer. All right, guys, that's reference layers. Now we're going to get into Alpha Lock. Alpha Lock is another important tool to utilize when you're doing digital art on Procreate. It's come handy when I learned how to use it, and here's a brief demonstration on how I use it. Let's roll. The next tip I got for you is what's called Alpha Lock. Now, Alpha Lock is really cool. Alpha Lock's a little different than the reference layer, but I like to use them together in total. So now I got the reference layer selected. So now let's say I want to color this big part of the skull red. Oops, sorry about that. You gotta make sure you're on a layer that's visible. Any layer, just come to here, only fills up that area because, again, you got the skull as the reference layer. Now what I'm going to do is, say I want to shade this in. A lot of times, you know, you got the problems where, you know, you pick your thing, you pick your airbrush. And by the way, airbrushes, I'll get into that. Airbrush is one of my favorites. So you pick that, and I don't know why I'm picking blue, but say you want to shade it blue. Who else runs into this problem? You're like, what's going on? Now you got to come back and you got to go do the erase. Oops, forgot to change it. Now you got to come back and do the erase, and you know, sometimes you get it and you're like, oh no. That's no fun. So let's back out of that. Let's choose the color again for that. Make this red. Now here's what you're doing. What you're going to select is called Alpha Lock. To get to Alpha Lock, you tap on that again. You pull up the same screen. You don't click on reference layer because you already got your reference layer. Click on right here called Alpha Lock. All right. So now what that means is that looks at this color, and it's this color is the only object on the screen. That's what it basically, when you're on that layer, that's what it kind of looks like. So now we're going to go back to that dark blue. We're going to pick a different one just to kind of have a little fun with it. We're going to pick these flicks. Now watch this. Make it big. Now we're going to do that. We're going to click splatter. Make it big. Now watch this. Look, I'm not outside the lines. Not at all. You can add colors, different sizes. No matter what, you're still going to be inside the lines. Now, another important part, tying back to reference layer and Alpha Lock, what you can do is just select a new layer. Now you want to work on the eyes, same step, automatic, and you can just pick. You can pick one, you can pick several, and then, you know, instead of sitting here and dragging like this to each one of them, get your airbrush out. your hard airbrush, make that thing big, and just bam. Make sure the opacity is up, and then bam. And then same thing as before. Pick your next color. Pick your, texture or whatever you want to shade it with. I like using, variety. And bam. And that's it. Alpha Lock is a great tool to utilize alongside reference layers. Another great way Alpha Lock works too is we're going to hide this, we're going to hide this, we're going to hide everything. We're going to hide everything. Blank canvas. Turn off the reference layer. Come up with a complete new layer. So now, what I like to do sometimes is I'm going to take what I like best is go into calligraphy and monoline. Now I like to do circle. Make a circle, hold the screen, make it a perfect circle, lift the pencil, drag that in there. Now that's it. Do this again, Alpha Lock. And then, bam, this thing is all one shape itself. We'll come in here with that. We'll come in with, we can do airbrush this time. Soft airbrush. Get a good size, get a good opacity. And bam. Do different colors. Anyway, you get the point. You can color with the Alpha Lock. It only colors inside the lines. All right, guys. Last and tip number 5, but definitely not least, is how to export your image. A very important process. Here's a quick rundown of what you should do and how I go about doing it. Let's roll. My last and final Procreate tip has to do with sharing. What you do to get to your share menu is you click on this little wrench up here. Click on the share and it gives you all these different options. These are different file types: PDF, PSD, JPEG, PNG, TIFF. The most common one you're going to save it as is JPEG. Any platform that it reads that file, it's a shareable file. It's not the highest quality, but it's high enough quality in most cases. A PDF file, works as PDF, normal PDF would. Procreate, that means it'll save it into Procreate files, and then you can still manipulate it and adjust all the layers. Same with the PSD. The PSD is the short term for Photoshop. Basically, when you export it to Photoshop, it still leaves you all your layers and adjustments. But if you did something like JPEG, PNG, or TIFF, it just kind of makes it all one image. A good thing with doing PNG is say I take this image here and I want to make this into a sticker. Well, I don't want the sticker to show up with all this background with gray, so I'll get rid of that. Make the background completely blank, where you can still see, if you look really hard, you can see the edge of the canvas, but you don't see it in this point. And then you click here, you click PNG, export it. I just save image. You can save it to files or wherever you want, and bam, save it there. Now, here's something cool. I'm going to show you the difference. We're sharing it with both PNG and out PNG. So now we got that, and we're going to save it PNG as well again. We're going to show you the big difference between getting the background and not getting rid of the background. Go over here. If you want to add a photo to here, side bonus tip, click on the wrench, add, insert photo. It'll bring up your photos file. And then we're going to click that. And then we're going to move this. I always make sure it's on uniform so I don't make it all out of proportions or anything. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to add this one. Now, to see the difference is, you'll see it right here. I mean, obviously outside of just that. Alright, I'm also going to save this as a JPEG too, just to show you the slight difference. Same thing, click the wrench, click JPEG, save image. Now we're going to go back, we're going to go over here to this new one. Click on this. We're going to click on that tool, the little wrench again, click add, click insert photo. I'm going to first put in that one. This is the PNG with the background. And now I'm going to add the file with the JPEG. Now if you look at it, there's not much of a difference visually. File wise and what it can be read on and used on is a little different, but different applications, different things. But overall, I was showing it so it looks the same. Now I'm going to insert the one that had no background to it. Now look at this. Usually there's white and stuff. And just to show you what I mean, we're going to go back to the other one. Now I'm going to get rid of the background like we did before, and I'm going to share it as a JPEG as well. And watch how different this is and why it matters doing PNG or not. To here, again, plus add insert photo. Now, when you do just the JPEG, now you got that background going on. And if you wanted to get rid of it, you'd have to go up here and erase it and get along the edges. You know, not fun. But now if you did it with this one, the one that's got no background, and you want to do something like add a background, you click the select. You can click the out there, and then bam, there's the background. So saving does matter. Pay attention, you know, just like screen size, this matters just as much when you export it, because if you can't export it at the proper file or file size or any of that stuff, then you end up with pixelated images that nobody wants. Okay, everybody, those are the 5 tips. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Maybe if you saw a few extra bonus ones, or if you guys saw me do something. I know I stumble and fumble still. I'm still getting used to being on here. But if you guys enjoyed what you saw, or you want to learn more in depth, comment below. Let me know. Do you guys use these? Or is this something new that you guys didn't see before? Let me know. Or if you guys want to know more in depth, I know I can go on and on about reference layers and alpha lock and how I utilize them together. And that's going to be a video in the future. And if you'd like to see that sooner rather than later, comment below and let me know, because it is mind-blowing. Just like when I learned it, it was mind-blowing. And hopefully it helps you guys. Thank you for watching today, you guys. Appreciate it. Let's roll. And before we get out of here, too, I want to touch base on why it's important and how you export it. Like we were talking about the PNG files. I use just an outline of a design, and now I got it printed on here. My brother asked me to design him something for a disc, a stamp. This is a frisbee or a disc. Most people call them discs. Some people that don't know the sport call it frisbees. I'm even wearing a disc golfer shirt. Huge disc golfer fan. So it was cool to make this, but I exported it using a PNG file and was able to share it, and that's how they were able to get just the outline on there. That's a quick little side tip for you guys. Hey, you made it to the end. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys follow me on my other social media networks, Art of J Nazca on Facebook and Art of J Nazca on Instagram. I think I did that the right way. And if you guys like what you saw, please subscribe. Click that little notification bell from Nifty TV, because this face is coming at you every week. Thanks for watching, guys. Be creative, push yourself,